Okay, thank you. My name is Shawn Levsen, and I am the chair of the Nadec, and I want to be the first to welcome you back. It's been 3 years since we've been in person. It's been a long time because I know that all of us love to get around and talk to other people. It's what we do, and we felt a little stymied over the past several years. So I'd say something cliche like we're getting back to normal, we're getting back to the new normal, but really what we're doing is we're adapting to change. And adaptation is what it's all about. And when we focus on exports and international trade, it's no different. The world is changing, we need to change with it, and the decks need to change as well. We need to adapt in our message and the way we get that message out. We're going to spend the next 2 days talking about that very topic. How do we adapt to that change? How do we better serve the small and medium businesses that we support? We have to be more agile in doing that. The Nadec, the sponsor of this organization, is out to help get that message out. And I want to talk a little bit about what the Nadec is. We are representatives of the DEC. We had a discussion yesterday as to what was the actual mission statement of the Nadec. A little shameful to say that we had some varying interpretations of that, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to simplify that. The Nadec, as you know, is representative of the DECs. You've got 2 from each region, you've got 4 that are at large, but our mission is to represent you as DEC members. What is that? We take your ideas, we help promote those among the other DECs. Again, there are 61 DECs out there. There are some really good ideas. And what we need to do at the Nadec level is help share your ideas. Take those good ideas that might be happening in Wisconsin and share those with the good DEC down in the Camino Real district of Texas. As well as that, we need to be a resource for you. If you need to promote your event, and some of you have done that, of course, if you're doing local events, make sure that you get that on the Nadec website. Because when we talk about change, that's one of the good things that I think has happened over the past several years, is that where you might have been doing a local event, we'll say, in Boise. Now, instead, that local event that was taking place in Boise can take place around the country, and literally around the world for those people that want to get up in the middle of the night and hear about U.S. exports. It's a great opportunity, as long as we adapt to that change and we do a better job. So we're going to talk about that for the next 2 days and how we at the Nadec can help support you. And we do that through some standing committees. And I'm going to take this opportunity to introduce some of those people and those committees, so that gives you 2 days rather than at the end of the event to hit them up for support. Because again, it's what we are supposed to be doing at the Nadec, is supporting you at the DEC. We have some standing committees. The first one is the Education and Outreach Committee, which is chaired by Tom Dustman and Shariah Richardson. Now, Shariah's not here, but I'm going to ask Tom to stand up. So, that's Tom. If you, I don't know if you need to clap, because it's Tom. But Tom's job is to support education and outreach, as the name would imply. So if you're working on webinars or educational programs, remember that guy. Hit him up for the next 2 days. Make sure that he's out there to support you. And they've been doing a great job. At the Nadec, we're doing monthly webinars now. We've got a schedule that goes through the beginning of next year. If you want to get on the schedule, if you've got something you want to talk about, and I'll go back, I'm not going to pick on Randy and Boise again, but it's the name that's come up. So in Boise, if you've got somebody that's a specialist in what's something that's relatively obscure. No, Boise is the center of the universe for all of those people in it. But if you've got something, a specialty that you might want to talk about in Boise, you might not have the group in Boise that's large enough, but at the national level, the international level, we do. Get with Tom, we can get on the schedule, and you can do a webinar to get the word out. And we've had really good attendance at some of those webinars. We've had well over 100 people show up, which is something at the local level. I'll say, maybe in Waco, Texas, that might not be able to bring that 100 people. So communications is another one of those areas. And we've got 3 people that have really been working at it. Jason Risner. Is Jason in here? Okay, stand up, Jason. We've got Ursula. I'm going to load the test up. With Ursula here, she's not. And then Ann Burkett has also been very active in that. But if you need to get the word out, get it in the newsletter, and I know that we're going to be tasking you coming up in the near future for information that would go in the newsletter, those are the individuals to reach out to. Very important topic when it comes to policy matters. Is David Day in here? I can't believe David's not in the room. Okay, David Day, Ernesto's here standing up against the back door. But what we want to do is help you when it comes to getting policy information so that when you're speaking to your representatives, you have something to back you up. I think we all have that general approach where we have the shared thoughts on a lot of international trade topics, but we at the Nadec will help give you some of that background papers and information that you might need when you're speaking with your elected officials. Lastly, we've got the events team, which I want to thank for taking the time to put this all together. We've got a number of them. It's Heidi in here. Heidi's probably out at the registration desk. Ann Burkett, are you stepping here?
She's out there.
Okay, that goes to show how much work they're doing, that they're all in the other room. But we do have, most of all, Jonathan Sukes, who's up here again, who's ready for the photo op because he's standing against the background. Who has been the point person on this event and has done fantastic work, and I think is already starting to think about next year. Well, I know we're thinking about next year's event to put everything together. So there's thanks due at a lot of levels. The people here at the Nadec are putting things together, but really what we are is just representative of the DECs. The DECs and the DEC members are the ones that are out there promoting, exporting, helping companies. Because we know that there are a lot of small and medium enterprises that are absolutely clueless when it comes to international trade. One of our topics yesterday was how companies will get that first international order, they'll ship that order, they'll get burned, and they'll never do it again. The Department of Commerce can help them, the DECs can help them, you as members of the DEC can help them so that international experience is a little bit more fulfilling and helps us access the 95% of the world's population is out of the United States, the 70% that are viable consumers. At other levels, there are all kinds of levels that can be supportive. You've got yours at the local level, we've got the Nadec. But another thing that we're implementing this year for the first time is the Nadec Export Advocate of the Year. And as part of that, we'll recognize 2 U.S. representatives for the efforts that they put forth to help exporters. We have Luke Lindbergh, who is our Nadec representative from South Dakota, who will go ahead and introduce this year's awardees and acknowledge some of those people that are putting together an effort when it comes to supporting U.S. exporters. Luke, go ahead.
Good morning, everybody. How are we doing? This is the best. I get to give out awards this morning. It's like the easiest job on the entire agenda for the week. So we decided to give out this Export Advocate of the Year award for the first time this year. And what we did as a Nadec was take a look at significant pieces of legislation, significant policy changes, significant things that were coming about that dealt directly with the issues that our exporters are facing around the United States of America. And the piece of legislation that we felt most represented an immediate need to be fixed was the Ocean Shipping and Reform Act. And I'm seeing a lot of head nodding, right? This is a piece of legislation that passed the House in December of 2021, passed the Senate, a different version, and is now potentially going to conference. It's sort of in limbo here. But the 2 representatives that really spearheaded this initiative and took the time and effort to directly take on an issue that matters to all of us are here with us this morning, and it's my pleasure to have them come up, receive their award, and give a couple of minutes of remarks. So starting off, Congressman John Garamendi is a lifelong rancher and operator of a pear orchard in Walnut Grove, California. He graduated with a BA in business from UC Berkeley and an MBA from Harvard. John and his wife, Patty, started teaching and doing community development work in Ethiopia. He continued his public service while serving as California state legislator, then Deputy Secretary of Interior here in Washington, D.C. under the Clinton administration, California Insurance Commissioner, Lieutenant Governor, and in Congress since 2009. While in Congress, he's been a leader in the movement of strengthening American manufacturing, which many of us can get behind. He is the author of the Make It in America legislation that would ensure that when our tax dollars are used to invest in our transportation and clean energy infrastructure, American jobs come first. Amen. He has championed American shipbuilding, manufacturing, and the need for a robust American maritime industry. And this morning I had a chance to chat with him for a few minutes, and he described himself as a fighter. And I like that. So please join me in welcoming Representative Garamendi to the stage. Thank you. Slight change of plans. He would like me to bring up Congressman Dusty Johnson as well. So I'm going to introduce the Congressman as well from my great state of South Dakota. I did ask his team to kindly send me a formal introduction for him, and their response was, oh, you guys know each other, you just do something fun, which is usually a dangerous thing in Washington, D.C. And so my pleasure in introducing a friend of mine who's been a fierce advocate for rural America for a long time. Although he maybe looks like he belongs in a library more than on a ranch, I promise you that Congressman from South Dakota knows how to shoot a pheasant and has been, like I said, a tireless advocate for rural America. Previously, Chief of Staff for the Governor of South Dakota, worked on the Public Utilities Commission, has worked in rural broadband in America, and I would say that one of his most proud moments was joining the Problem Solvers Caucus in Congress. I know that for a fact, because Dusty talks about that a lot. One brief story I'll share just because I have to have the moment. In his first campaign event, running for the House of Representatives in South Dakota, I remember being in the room, and somebody raised their hand and asked him a question during the question and answer time. And the question was, what are you going to do when you have to take a hard vote? And Dusty's response was, well, I can always get a new job, I can't get a new conscience. And I feel like that's the exact kind of person we need in Washington, D.C., who's here to get things done.
Duke, thank you very much for that change in your agenda. Dusty and I teamed up almost 9 months ago, 10 months ago, and it's been a marvelous and really, really successful team. And I didn't want to be up here all by myself, because that just wouldn't be right. We've done this together from the very outset. I'm not exactly sure what brought us together. I know it brought us together, but not sure exactly how it happened. We had, in my district, which is a large agricultural district in California, Walnut Road, I see Susan back there, neighbor, the community. One of the largest agricultural districts in the nation, probably only behind Fresno. Problems galore. Couldn't get a container. If you got a container, couldn't get it on a ship. The prunes were not going to last another month. The wine was going to go stale, on and on and on. And so they approached me, and so we started working on a piece of legislation. Somehow along the way, South Dakota. What do you grow in South Dakota? Okay, Dusty. We've been doing this duet, and we joined up. And sought a solution to a very, very serious problem. Your task is to expand the exports, discussion about small exporters, large and odd. This issue of the inability of American producers of everything not being able to export because of a severe economic dislocation in the market, and the Federal Maritime Commission, which is supposed to make a rational export-import situation, it just has been impossible. And so our legislation that we designed gives the Federal Maritime Commission the power to solve the problem. And so it's passed the House of Representatives 3 times. Dusty, come on, let's do a duet.
It's terrifying now. I got words I want to say too.
Well, 3 times this legislation has passed the House of Representatives. The Senate took our bill and modified it, sent it back to us. We think that we need a stronger bill. We think that the FNC really needs to have the power to solve this problem. The Senate bill goes part of the way, but not far enough. So we're in the final stages of what we hope will be a compromise between the Senate and the House. Keep your eye on all of this. We'll hopefully come up with a bill that actually is strong enough to solve a very, very serious problem. I know that I'm going to have bankruptcies in my district from farmers because they are not able to ship their product. And that's bad enough. But we've worked, particularly my wife and Susan, my wife was working on the Technology, Trade, and Commerce Department in the state of California and spent a vast number of years and a vast amount of money developing the markets. Those markets are going to be lost and have to be redeveloped. It won't be easy to do. So we'll see what happens here. We're down to the final on all of this. And frankly, I seek a strong bill. I didn't come here to do something that I could put on the wall and say, good job. No, I want something on the wall that actually creates the power to solve the problem. So we're down into that right now. We'll see what happens. In any case, I'm sure there'll be a bill, hopefully a strong bill. In any case, there'll be some sort of a bill. Trust me.
Well, you know, it's interesting when you hear members of Congress talk about their colleagues, they always make it sound so nice. Oh, you know, like, you know, the honorable gentleman from California, who I have so much respect for, and most of the time they're lying because so many members of Congress are knuckleheads. You really have to say something nice about them, even if they haven't earned it. But I would say this, I mean, I really came to the ocean shipping issue looking for a solution. I think I found one, but I also found a friend. I mean, John Garamendi is a good man and a good legislator, and we are going to get this done.
Justin Johnson is true.
Yeah, you know, I've been hitting around for you to say that now, 30 seconds, but listen, we've got good people on both sides of the aisle who want to punch this through to the end zone. We do need your help. John started to talk about that, but I want to put just a little finer point on it. We have a Senate bill and a House bill that are both good, but if we want to get to something great, we're going to need some compromises. We're going to need to make some changes to both versions to get something in the middle. So as you talk to your members in Congress, particularly in the Senate, suggest to them that all you're asking for is some negotiation. And, you know, listen, obviously, John and I think our bill is perfect. You know, the Senate's entitled to their own opinion. I don't know why everybody just doesn't take my word for it, but they don't. And so just tell people, negotiate. Let's negotiate, let's get something done. I would just close by mentioning this. John talked about how big the stakes are. They are big. They're big across this country. I mean, 60% of South Dakota soybeans are exported. We know that in one industry, dairy, in a 6-month period last year, that one industry lost $1.6 billion of sales because they couldn't get their stuff loaded up into a container. Keep in mind, 60% of the containers that went back last year were empty. And we know that these markets, once they're lost, are incredibly difficult to build back up. Little cheese plant in South Dakota, they had 2 million pounds of lactose sit for 75 days into the Port of Long Beach as it rotted because they could not get onto that ship. And so we're resolute. We are going to get this done, and any help you can provide us will be much appreciated. And I want to thank, Luke is a friend, and I want to thank this entire organization for providing us an award. It's meaningful. Thanks.